Evening, everybody. Welcome. Sorry about that delay. Trying to finish up some lap things, but we'll try and hop on some drivers here. Going out on track, Meraki on track, but we'll get those invites in right now. So, because I know Hitch needs one. But we are here today in Spa right now. Today, here tonight for Tier 1 Racing. Here in IRL Racing Link, I will be your host and commentator, Shiesty 420. Myself, we had a wonderful time last night for the Tier 2 race. We had a wet race, too, for our drivers, as Meraki here first to start a lap here in Spa on the P-Carb. Two Haas's behind him, too, there in the background. But almost a full grid, though, tonight, too. We'll follow along with Meraki here as he heads through El Rouge. Fall along in the TV pod with him. Flat out on the battery, heading into the technical portions of Sector 2. Going a little wide. Easy on the line, but on the throttle. Down to the straight. Into the long left-hander. In Sector 2. Flat out into 8th gear, into the chicane. Staying in 5th gear. Back on the throttle, exiting Sector 2. Flat on out here until the chicane. Heading back into the main straight. Yes, we'll give Iceman a quick invite. There we go. Thanks, Lewis. It's all good as long as we get everybody in the race. Meraki sets our provisional pole time at a 141.8. Two Haas cars coming back. Red Dog takes pole away from him with a 141.4. Squirt with a 142.7 right behind him. The Red Bull of Zizen 2 starting his fast lap, but that I believe is a Williams driver. Across Offline Kids, finishing his lap, takes pole away with a 140.9. His teammate Stamso starting his fast lap behind him. I see a McLaren though crossing the line. Across the line is B-Dot on an out lap. I see a Aston Martin. Thiago, though, is on a fast lap. Use all of his pole. A bit of a lock up there in the chicane. Invalidates, though. Heads back into the pit. So does the Aston Martin. Circling back to Ben, who had a wonderful race. Decided not to, but Ferraris, who... Sorry for all the spastic back. But SJZ here. Setting a time of a 142.5. A Ferrari teammate of his, Speedy, sets a time of a 143.1. Zizen. Coming out of the corner too. Scorenzi, though, looks to be on a fast lap too. The two Haas's ahead of Zizen, heading into the final straight, into the chicane. The Haas going wide for the Red Bull. Red Bull driver trying to find something, slots himself into P2, 2/10 away, less than from the Williams driver of Offline Kids. Aston Martin of Shadow starting his fast lap. 2 Williams drivers. Offline Kids looks to be pitting. Stampso sets a time with a 1:44.6. McLaren driver of... looks to be B-Dot. Ooh, losing the rears briefly there at the end. Slots himself into P7 with a 1:42.8. So, yeah, I sent him an invite. I sent him an invite. It should have... I don't know who that is. If that's what that is, let's pick this up. Oh. There's that one. That's the one I know. Going back to the action here in Spa. Yeah, there he is. There's Iceman. Watching B-Dot along. Looks to be his cooldown lap. I'm trying to find a full... so many now on the grid. 1, 2... down the order. Shadow sets a time with a 1:42.0. Screnzy with a 1:42.2. A few others on an out lap. Dude, that looks to be the Aston Martin of Enigma, I believe. There's Ted. Guess that is Enigma. The Mercedes, though. Franco on the main straight. Going on his fast lap. 2. Excuse me. Caution sector 1. Garbage car's getting out of the way. But Franco here has had himself a decent season so far, duking out with the Red Bull season for output. We'll see what happens tonight in Spa. Will we see rain for the race too? I don't know. Only time will tell. But following along on the ladder straight purple sector 2 for the Mercedes driver. Trying to make something happen here tonight. So we shall see what happens. Here, will he be able to slot himself up there in the front row? Almost did with a 1:41.2. And slots himself into P3, our top 5, all within a second of each other. Same with the bottom of the top 10. 6 through 10, all within a second of each other. Speedy Stampso bringing up the rear of times with 1:43s and a 1:44. So, we'll see. Bed looks to be crossing the line with a 1:42. 1 Shadow, I think that was. No, it's not. It's in the pits. Enigma starting his lap. That looks to be... Thiago looked to have crossed the line. There, Hitch on a lap 2. The Sauber. Right, goodness gracious, excuse me. Oh, I'm yawning so much. Hitch sets the time with a 1:42.9. 2 the Ferraris right behind look to be 22 something Speedy going on his fast lap. It looks to be. Decides to. We'll full along with Speedy. Ooh, lock up going into turn 1. Decides to stick with the lap though. The Ferrari driver heading into Eau Rouge. touches the grass on his front right tire. Red Dog with a pole position snatch away from Offline Kids with a 147.52. Oh my goodness, we're breaking into the 140s here, folks. These guys are rapid around here. He's trying to improve his time. Slot himself up further up the grid. Ooh, but invalidates. He's lapped his teammate right behind him. Up 200ths on his sector 2 time. Sorry, sector 1 time. Low on gas 2, so will he decide to complete this lap? Excuse me. Or not, but flat out on the back straight here in Spa, the Ferrari driver still staying on the battery. Off it now. Caution sector 1 looks like Sauber of Iceman getting out of the way of the driver. Ferrari driver cutting close over the chicane, taking an exit, trying to make some moves, gets across and drops 4/10 to get into P6. Ted, the Alpine driver at the back of the grid, validated his lap, so he'll go on another starter here. And oh my goodness, I'm so sorry you guys that I'm yawning. So much Red Dog also too heads into the pits. Frenzy looks to be down on his time. Though two coming the latter half of it. Oh my god. I am so sorry. I keep yawning so much. Coming through the chicane is the Red Bull driver of Screnzy, deciding to head into the pits instead. Iceman 2 invalidated. Low on gas looks to be he will probably head on out. But Zizen though looks to be coming out of the pits too in the white Red Bull. Two Ferraris though. Look at me, Zizen invalidates, but is on an out lap right now. Or no, he's actually on a lap, so he invalidated. Two looks to be Shadow, two on himself. A fast lap. Alrighty, the Ferrari of Speedy heads into the pits with 3.5 minutes remaining. Here, a few other drivers sketching out of the grid, trying to get one more last run in here too. But Shadow coming through the chicane. Oh my goodness. I swear I'm not doing that on purpose. Shadow flat out heading into sector 3. Approaching the chicane. Going to try not to take too much curb. Each one on the throttle. Make it something happen. Can he make something happen? Puts himself into P5. Between Franco and Mersaki. Two to slot himself in the third row. To speak of the devil, the driver, he is ahead. Mersaki down a few hundredths, using all of that battery here in the latter half of this straight. Shadow Storm decides to retire from the session. Mersaki trying to get back that position. Will he be able to do it? No, he won't. Few tenths away. No, a few hundredths away, not tenths. But everybody else coming out onto track, though, to get a final last run in Excuse me. But coming across through, Ted will be the first one. We'll follow along with Ted. Everybody now out on track. That wants something. Want to be quicker. We'll follow along Ted and try and catch all the action as the laps come in and as drivers continue recording their laps. Ted, the Tier 3 driver, catching the main straight. There's a 30.7 in the second. Excuse me. Into the latter half of Sector 2, down the straight, into the wide, the left-hander. Oh, little gingerly there onto the curb on the inside. On that front left tire. Into the chicane. Hitch, I believe, right behind him too. Also on a fast lap. Behind the LP driver, catching it too. Will Hitch use it to his advantage? Try and catch a slipstream. If he catches him, Ted out of battery. Right now, Meraki decides to retire from the session in the pits. Now you see Hitch there, little green speck in the background. Ted, though, finishing his fast lap, actually able to set a time. Sets time of 1:43.8. Hitch sets a time of 1:42.0. SJZ with a 1:42. The Mercedes of Ben Arnold slots himself into P5 right behind his teammate. But it looks like a Williams driver, and it looks to be a McLaren was off. B-Dot was off, getting out of the way of two driver. Offline Kids able to improve his time, but finish himself in P2. Red Dog, the Haas driver, the provisional pole sitter, comfortably in pole right now by a few hundredths. But is he able to stretch his legs out a little bit with it? No, he does not. His teammate, though, finishes in P13. But we still have more drivers coming across the line. Iceman in the kick shower, down on his time out of Sector 2. Ooh, loses the rears a little bit. Can he make a recovery? No, he can't. A few more others. The Aston Martin of Enigma setting a time, slots himself into P15. B-Dot invalidates his lap in Mercedes. A Ferrari, though, coming across grid. The Mercedes of Franco. P5, Scorenzi, P6. Ferrari, Speedy, and SJZ, P9 and P10 as they come across the line. Mark, P9, a 1:41.8 to his teammate. There's that is. Itch. Here's finish everybody else into the pits. But here is your race leader in the qualifying. Red Dog here from the Haas, sitting on pole. Right now, rocking the basic Haas livery. In my opinion, I like the Dakota livery. I always rock that because I'm from the good old US of A. But we're going to have some action here tonight in Spa. Full big grid tonight. So we'll see what happens. We'll get you all the action here today. But Red Dog, Offline Kids and Zizan, your top three. Franco, Ben, round out the top five. Scorenzi, Shadow, Meraki, Mark, Speedy, round out the top 10 too. And here's the rest of the field with you, getting all the race director information for our admin team too. But here's the rest of your grid. To SJZ, P11, Hitch, P12, Iceman, P13, Squirt and B-Dot round out the top 15. Enigma, Thiago, Ted, and Stamso round off the grid. 2. But we shall see. I'll give them a little bit. Oh, and it's wet and rainy here tonight. Oh my goodness, we have rain once again here in Spa. A few drivers not happy about the rain. A few drivers who raced last night, who had to race in the rain, are racing here today. So Ben Arnold, too, in the Mercedes, dominated in that Tier 2 race with his wet race pace, so he is very good here. I know that from experience watching him drive last night as he is clapping back in the pits. Stamp cell. Looks to be giving us. Thank you, appreciate it, buddy. I'm gonna pin that in chat. That way it's there and I can just look at it. Here too on the paddock. Looks like it'll be raining up until maybe lap 11. Some drivers may go 11-11 too, but it should be. We'll see very much so who goes on the changeover, who decides to change over on the once the rain ends and starts drying up the track. So we shall see. Give the drivers. Mr. Panda, thank you for joining us. Good evening, my fellow Brit. Evening, Monsieur Panda. I think that's how I'd say it. Sorry, my bad if I botched that. He's eager to go. We'll give him the green light. Gave him the green light to ready up, so just a few seconds we'll be away from the red lights as I hear too. Getting ready for a fun race again tonight in the rain in Spa. Here we go, the 5 red lights. And away we go here in Spa once again. Decent start from everybody. Ooh, the Red Bull driver of Zizen weaving and bobbing around everybody, though, getting away cleanly. 3 wide on the inside on across multiple drivers going wide, though. Thiago of the V-Carb, several drivers 2 wide going into El Rouge. Excuse me as I burn. Off like is overtaking Red Dog, though. 2 for the lead of this race. Zizen making a move. It looks to be trying to stay ahead of Franco. Red Dog, though, able to take that position back from Offline Kids. Offline Kids looking on the inside. That turns into the outside for a switchback on the Haas driver. So the close little pack we got here. The 2 Mercedes. Ben has rapid pace, as we all remember from last night. Too, as we see a glimpse into our strategies here tonight. But these drivers, oh, going on the inside there, looks to be Hitch and Mark too, battling out Z's and eyeing up the Williams driver. The Williams driver going a little wide out of there in sector 2. With Red Dog maintaining pace so far in front of this pack. That Mercedes of Franco looked to be in a little bit of trouble there out of that turn with these wet intermediate tires. We'll keep an eye on these race leaders and anybody else going on in the back half of the grid tonight. Here, everybody's using here. Defending Tier 2 championship going on the inside of offline kids trying to keep it clean. And the Haas there too, losing a little bit in the rears. Drivers duking it out. Two, even behind the grid, Scorenzi trying to make an appearance too. It looks to be against Ben. Oh my goodness, offline kids going wide, opens the door for Franco saying thank you. He tries to catch back up to Zizin. This battle for the top 6 is going to be intense tonight, folks. Zizin, though, trying to look for something on Red Dog. We'll go to the TV pod of him catching the slipstream is the Brazilian driver. Not going to make a move. No other moves behind him. But Zizin on the gearbox of that Haas driver. Trying to make some magic happen. Saving his battery, buying his time, patience is key, but he has to remember Franco is right behind him. Ooh, the gap. Red Dog opened it a little bit there on the inside. Heading into this portion of Sector 2, Zizin goes a little bit on the grass. Goes for a lawn care service out here in Spa. The Red Bull driver, Franco, wanted to make that into a good opportunity, but wasn't able to. But offline kid still eyeing up the Mercedes 2 right behind Zizin. Another take a glimpse at strategy. We'll take a look at everybody else's strategy. And tires here. Everybody on the intermediates here today. And our position changes so far as we finish up lap 2. The Ferrari of SJZ must have had a spin. And is in the back of the grid. Terrible start for Ferrari. They had a decent qualifying grid, but not what you want to see if you are Senzaka. Franco. Oh my goodness. Zizin eyeing up, looking to make the overtake. Makes the overtake on the Haas driver. Oh my goodness, too. Offline kids and Franco duking it out side by side. Offline kids on the inside makes the move, but they still go side by side. Franco retakes the position back from the Williams driver heading into Eau Rouge. But look at this. Red Dog trying to defend. Jockey was seasonal. Makes a little contact. Contact. Contact in the front of the grid. Virtual safety car. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness! What just happened? Zizin and Red Dog fighting for the lead of this race. Ends bad. The Red Bull drivers are thinking this is good for us. Both of them slotting themselves into P1 and P2. But the Mercedes drivers, Franco clearly has front wing damage, as you can see there too. Looking into the latter part of the grid. Looking at Ben. Ben has no front wing. Ben has no front wing. Oh my goodness. They're both going to have to pit. Both the Mercedes are going to have to double stack. They want to survive this race under the VSC. If the VSC will stay on for that long. Oh my goodness. Chat, what do we think? Drive-through penalty for offline kids for speeding under the VSC. Oh my goodness. Not good for the Williams driver. But Zizin now trying to make this, take advantage of this opportunity here and just try and pull away with his teammate right behind him, up Scorenzi. Here too. Both drivers rapid. Scorenzi maybe eyeing up his teammate too. Red Dog goes side by side with the Williams driver as I'm in the middle of the yawn. Makes the overtake. Offline kids going wide. To Franco making his presence felt. He felt here too. Offline kids going into the pits to take care of that drive-through penalty. To Red Dog getting a little space between him and Franco. Franco right behind him. And then just a train with Shadow, Mursaki, Speedy, Hitch, B-Dot. Right there, right behind the leaders. Who will make something happen if somebody else screws up like that was so far. But your top three there, Zizin, Scorenzi, and Red Dog. Franco and Shadow there in the background too to round out your top five. Will we see some action there? Oh, look to be some overtaking going on. Mursaki Speedy and Hitch. Speedy going wide, allowing B-Dot to go through, but side by side are the two bird's eye view. Murasaki trying to make a move. Has more grip, but Shadow still able to maintain the position. Trying to keep it clean. Hitch trying to insert himself too. Take advantage of this. But Shadow gets away. Murasaki defending against the Kick Sauber driver, usually who is in a Mercedes. But it's okay. We're glad you're here, Hitch, and glad you're battling it out here tonight in Spa. Going on to his TV pod, watching close on this action here between these three. This battle for P5. Lee and Franco right up ahead too. Out of 1 second DRS range, even though all of us know DRS is not activated. So we'll see what happens. Williams, I'm not happy with how we're doing right now, so I can tell you that much with our performance, but the show must go on. Hitch looking, eyeing on the outside of the V-carb, side by side. The two, Iceman with a 3 second time penalty. Hitch able to make the move on the V-carb. Cleanly B-Dot 2 looking. Oh my goodness. I think my Iceman overtaking. I'm yawning so much. Oh my goodness, the other V-carb too with Thiago and Speedy getting into the behind. The two looking at this. B-Dot inserting himself between the V-carbs right to the gearbox of Murasaki. You can see the battle up ahead between Shadow. No, Hitch and Shadow. Hitch looking, but B-Dot also looking, actually making the move on the inside. Makes the overtake over the V-carb. The McLaren driver up into P7. Hitch, though, very close to the Aston Martin of Shadow. Going into the TV pod. Frenzy are pulling away. But Red Dog catching very closely to the Red Bull drivers, who once they get into close to a DRS range, we'll get close to them. Watch that battle. Alright, now this one, these little fights here, ones to watch. Thiago now too, trying to insert himself back into this fight. Hitch going into a TV pod. Both him and the Aston Martin saving battery. Hitch looking very close on the gearbox. Makes a move. Applies the battery. Makes the overtake. Going into the chicane. Season with a new fastest lap. Two as the track drying up. Looks to be no rain. Drivers are pitting. Two. Oh my goodness. Half the grid. Beginning of the grid decides to pit. Season will stay out. That puts Shadow, P2, Murasaki, P3, Thiago, P4. It looks to me, yes, lots of drivers going on to the slicks now as the track is evolving and the rain is starting to go away. We'll start to see more drivers change their strategies as we go on. Several opting for the hards. Man, they'll try and make those last for the remainder of this race. Those on mediums most likely will be doing a two-stop. Red Dog and Franco are those two people. But looking back, oh, little losing of the rear there, Shadow. Iceman with a 3 second time penalty. Red Dog with a 3 second time penalty. That may bite him in the butt. He's been fighting for the lead of this race, but we'll see how these pit strategies stay. These pit strategies go about. Iceman, 10-second time penalty again for exceeding track limits. Oh my word, he's at 16 seconds worth of penalties. Another 10-second time penalty for him. As we see Offline Kids DNFs. Oh my goodness, Offline Kids DNFs. Oh my goodness, he was up there on the front row and is out of this race here tonight in Spa. Oh my goodness. But we'll start to see some of these other drivers start to pit there too. Most of the grid. Oh, looks to be Mercedes making a move on the inside or outside now. Shadow. The two drivers eyeing two, both going to the pits. Mercedes gives it a little love tap. Two to the cone with his front wing. Thiago here now is your new race leader on the intermediate tires season, though, coming out of the pits. You may see in the background, here he is on fresher rubber and fresher hards too. He will be rapid. Going now, his teammate right behind him, defending against Red Dog. He knows Red Dog has penalties, but doesn't mean he isn't quick. Caution, Sector 3. Looks to be a Sauber. Iceman DNS 2 in the pits. Lots of penalties for the Sauber driver, too. Enigma with a 3-second time penalty. Trying to catch you some action. Oh, goodness me. Oh, look at this. Franco, Vidot, and Hitch duking it out here for this battle for the last portions of points here in the grid. Battle for P9 and P10. 2 out of these 3 drivers will be able to score points. They're battling hard. Red Dog. So moving up the grid to him is within that DRS range now. Will we see DRS be active here soon so he can open that rear wing? We'll see what decides to happen. Ooh, lose it a little bit. Excuse me. Mark overtaking. Speedy dropping down the grid order too a little bit. There for back to the grid. Maybe man of the people, because I know this is something we talked about while we're watching the race. Caution, Sector 2, Mercedes at Ben Arnold Golding a little slow. We wanted to see these little midfield battles too. Thiago heads into the pits too, getting off those intermediates. Hitch eyeing up Mark. Ben with a 3-second time penalty. These drivers keeping it close. Hitch looking not able to make something happen. Oh, maybe. Vidot defending brilliantly, going up further the grid. Keeping an eye on these two. Both low on batteries. Zizin with a 3-second time penalty. Ooh, Red Dog looking, weaving and bobbing. A little Tokyo drift action there in the latter half of the main straight. Between those drivers, the 2 V-carbs too coming out. B-Dot defending. No, Mark defending against Hitch as DRS is now enabled to Red Dog. Goodness, be very happy about that. So we're going to go right up here to the front pack and see these two duke it out. Zizin, though, has cleared enough gap for this caution. Sector 3, Ben Arnold DNFs and decides to retire in the pits. So we shall see. Excuse me. What else happens? Stamso with a 3-second time penalty too. Going wide is the Haas driver. Oh my goodness, loses control and loses so much ground that he has gained. Oh my goodness, that is not good for the Haas driver. So we'll go back to Mark here defending in a lot of portions of these points positions too. Strenzy with the new fastest lap too. Red Dog pitting. Interesting that he is going into the pits. Will he pit for hards or mediums? He pits for hards. Too interesting call by the Haas driver. But Mark, Hitch, Franco, and Vidot there in the background too. Very close together. We shall see. We'll see that DRS ring pop up, and yes, then we'll get a front row view to Hitch Battling Mark. Hitch going on the inside. Makes the overtake, leading on the McLaren, but goes wide. Leaves the opportunity, maybe even for Franco too. Mark able to retake the position back. Down the main straight. Going wide is the Sauber and the Mercedes. The McLaren driver will want to get away. That is a yawning. Oh my goodness. It's trying to stick with them too. Franco. His own Mercedes teammate Speedy with a 3-second time penalty, but on a different team right now. Enigma with another 3-second time penalty too. We'll see what these guys do when the time comes to do battle. Oh my goodness, going wide is the Sauber of Hitch, losing ground and position. Franco immediately hops on the battery, taking advantage of that mishap, and take P7 from the Sauber driver. The rest of this grid, though, spreading out, though. Closest what I could see is Speedy here on Yacht. That is closest to the front of the grid to a points position. This battle for P9. Heading into Eau Rouge. Not on the battery. The DRS wing opens. He's gaining on the McLaren of B-Dot. Will he make a move? Decides not to. Heading into Sector 2, the technical portion part of this track here at Spa, Belgium. Spa-Franco. Oops. I believe that's what it's called. Could be wrong. Jack, correct me if I'm wrong. But, yeah. We'll keep trying to keep an eye on all these close battles. Franco, though, looking very close now to the back of Mark. Hitch gaining back that ground too. Near the same spot he lost ground the previous lap. Ziza now pulling ahead by almost 10 seconds to teammate not that far behind. But then 4 seconds behind him is Shadow. And then the rest of the grid, essentially. So we'll see how this all plays out. If anybody else decides to pin anymore, everybody's just going to rock it on hard until the end. Mark, though, trying to pull away. Get into P6 for McLaren tonight. Enigma looking very close, too, on Ted, the Alpine driver. Beautiful shot of a B-Dot. Speedy right behind them. Two Haas drivers of Red Dog and Sport. To my goodness, Chad, how's everybody? As we're kind of waiting to see some more action here on track. But looks to be B-Dot maybe in trouble. Speedy. But here the Ferrari driver trying to want to make something happen here. Does have a penalty though too, so will B-Dot even fight him? And the battle ahead of them too between Hitch, Franco, and Mark. SJZ with a 3-second time penalty. But that Ferrari driver is struggling today here around Spa. Ooh, a little bit of chatter in chat too. By some drivers. Will they take it to the paddock? I don't know. Up ahead though, you see the Sauber of Hitch looking to Red Dog with the fastest lap. Going to try and overtake his teammate. But oh my goodness, Hitch overtaking the Mercedes of Mark Wall. I'm looking into the Tier 4, into the Tier 1 paddock. Jack caught that very quickly. So the Hitch making the move on his teammate in a different car. We'll see if anything else, more action. These two Haas drivers, Red Dog, wanting to catch up. Try and get some more points as he had a stellar qualifying session here in Spa. But now we're kind of almost in a DRS train, or not even in the DRS train. Hitch the closest one to DRS to Mark. He's another fastest lap by him. Hitch wanted to make some moves up the track. Two lockups by Thiago and by Mark too. Mark trying to catch close. Is in DRS range. Stays in DRS range too. Hitch, terrible exit. But gets another fastest lap. Red Dog snatches it away. Slots himself in a P10 above Speedy too, overtaking him. So maybe we'll see Red Dog starting to make his way up to the grid and insert himself here in these battles. Mark has plenty of battery to try and catch Thiago. But not able to make something happen here is the McLaren driver. A lockup by Thiago. Going a little wide, too, is the V car. Mark trying to take advantage as best as he can, too, whilst defending against Hitch. You see Bershaki there, too, in the foreground. Anybody else? How's everybody's night doing now? Kind of seems the action's slowing down. But Mark, ooh, maybe it's not. Mark looking very close on the V-carb of Thiago. Hitch, though, very close to him, too. Trying to save his battery going into Eau Rouge. Trying to take avoiding action, too, to avoid the V-carb. Hitch, though, taking a little bit of avoiding action, too. A gap opened up ever so slightly. Here's our three drivers. They're going into Eau Rouge. Thiago, Mark, Hitch. Will we see an overtake here? The crowd going crazy. Mark on the outside. Makes the move. Defends the inside. The V-carb locks up, but the McLaren driver able to maintain the position too. Now he's weak to Hitch. Will Hitch make something happen too against the V-carb? Mark now too wanting to try and just get away and put on the rocket ship boosters and blast off into the distance. Thiago not wanting to do that and try and get him back. Going wide though, hugging that grass is the Racing Bull. Hitch trying to make something happen here. Oh my goodness, down the main straight. That was an exciting Mark with the overtake there to slot himself into P5. The Tier 3 driver making a statement with his driving so far this race. hitch slowly gaining onto the V-carb. The V-carb trying to defend. Weave and bob a little bit. Oh, big lockup and a little spin. Two for the V-carb. Hitch has the golden opportunity. Gets the DRS on the battery. The two drivers side by side. Thiago makes the overtake. Contact between the two drivers. Looks to be Thiago forced him wide. B-Dot says thank you. Through he goes into a Rouge. But B-Dot gives the position back. I don't know what was going on. Red Dog inserting himself too. Heading into El Rouge. He was in an accident before earlier in the race. That cost him. But here he is back again. Making the overtake on Hitch. My goodness. Seems like it all just happens at once, folks. It just goes and goes, and you got to keep your eye on it, but once it happens, and it happens fast. These four scruffing away at each other for P4, P5, P6. Wait, no, for the battle, yeah, essentially a battle for P6. Mark looking on the V-carb. Will we see something from him? Also keep an eye on this brawl behind him. Red Dog looking on him too. Briefly. Thiago has plenty of battery though, able to try and get away. Mark, the one in trouble. Red Dog trying to catch a slipstream from the McLaren driver, not able to make it. Mark, though, looking. We're going to get a front row seat to this. Mark, lock up, little love tap there by Thiago in the V-carb. Mark makes the overtake for P5. Or B-Dot. No, that's B-Dot. Oh, my gosh. I thought it's Mark. It was B-Dot. I am so sorry. B-Dot. Oh, my goodness. We catch that AMS Red Dog. Forcing himself in that gap against Thiago. Lose the position to Hitch too. Oh my word. You see too the Sauber there battling out behind the Haas. B-Dot trying to just get away. Gonna try and harvest. The Haas is gonna take advantage. So are the other two. The Haas makes the overtake. B-Dot covering off the two drivers behind him. The V-carb and the kick. Sauber the two. Contact. Go wide. Oh, big crash between the V-carb and the kick. Sauber, not enough to call for a safety car. Looks like there won't be one called. Oh my goodness. Huge contact between the two. That Sauber driver missing his entire left wing and a few bits of his right portions of his front wing, but his left wing there you can see clearly damaged. Stewards may have a good look at that. So, but Speedy up ahead of Squirt there too, but what? Oh my goodness, Red Dog inserting himself back up. The top of this grid seems to be the man to watch. It's the latter half portion of Belgium today. Saki was very close to against Shadow. These two Red Bull drivers, though, dominant the entire race. Zizan and Scorenzi. It's just been Red Bull running the show, staying ahead. But B-Dot eyeing up Red Dog too, wanting to get back at him. Will we see an attempted overtake from the McLaren driver, who's had a wonderful race so far? Not much battery does he have, but neither does his adversary, Red Dog, who does have a penalty. So B-Dot would still get P6 if he were to finish like this. Though too, not going to make the move and save his battery for another day. Looking back on Haas, the Red Dog's teammate, Squirt here. Two very close to the Ferrari is Speedy, who also has a penalty. But the two Haas drivers in a battle right now. One's attacking, one's defending. As we see Thiago in the battle and Speedy too there. But B-Dot Wanting to make some magic happen here for the McLaren team, who are going to get good double points from this tonight. So will the Racing Bulls, so will the Haas cars, so will the Aston Martins too. All get double points. Mercedes will just be lucky to get away with something now after Ben DNF'd to at the moment. But yeah, looks to be Speedy. Oh my goodness. Squirt makes the overtake, but Speedy trying to get that position back from the Haas driver. The Haas driver defending the outside. Speedy trying to go for the switchback. Has some battery. Has a lot more battery than the Haas driver. Speedy looks like he will probably make this overtake soon and will waste no time trying to get away. The Ferrari driver saving his battery. Using it. Oh my goodness. As I'm going into Eau Rouge. Are the two drivers flat out close to the gearbox. There goes the Ferrari on the outside. Makes the move cleanly. The crowd roars. The Scuderia and the Tifosi here in Spa. Very happy and pleased to see that. Speedy making the overtake on Squirt, the Haas driver. Looks to be, though, too, Mercedes looking very close. Hitch with a 3-second time penalty. Hitch dropping down the order after that incident he had. He will not be happy about that. But Mercedes keeping very close. Thiago with a 3-second time penalty, too. We'll keep a close eye on these penalties, too. There they are right there. Hitch with 33 seconds worth of penalties. Wouldn't be surprised if he decides to retire. Caution for him. Must have spun the Sauber driver. But this V-Carb here looking to make what would be really cool, a Red Bull essentially only podium. He has the opportunity to do that here within DRS range. Has it now against the Aston Martin of Shadow. To caution Sector 2. Hitch looks to be just ceding positions now, trying to just do something. Hitch with another 3-second time penalty. Most likely will retire in the pits. Too, but this battle for the podium, this final podium position, too, we'll keep a close eye on Mercedes, wanting to make it a full Red Bull sweep. Caution Sector 3. Hitch struggling out there in the back of the grid. There too, I wouldn't be surprised if he decides to go into the pits and retire for the session. Season 14 seconds away. Squirt overtaking the Ferrari of Speedy, but Season dominating this entire race. 14 seconds ahead of his teammate Scarenzi. Hitched with a 3-second time penalty and disqualified from the session with a total of 56 seconds worth of penalties. Dude, not the race you want to be, not the race driver you want to be in with Hitch. Unfortunate for him. But Mercedes, 2 laps. He has 2 laps to try and get some and try and make a move on the Aston Martin to make it a Red Bull clean sweep. Why I say that is because it would be a Red Bull 1-2 and a V-Carb, their junior team, in that 3rd position on the podium. He's still within DRS range, trying to save his battery, though, too. For this, Shadow does not have DRS. As we head into lap 20 with 2 laps remaining, the V-Carb driver on the battery, trying to use it when the Aston is not. And making a move. He has enough. Looking for the slipstream. Takes it and rockets past the Aston Martin to slot himself into P3. But can he defend him off now and maintain it for a Red Bull podium? Oh, and that will probably do it. Shadow selling gets a 3-second time penalty. So unless Shadow can perform a miracle here now and soon, This will be a Red Bull sweep across the podium with a Red Bull 1-2 and a V-carb in that final podium position. Oh my goodness. I don't know if we've seen that before. I know I haven't. Oh my word. Shadow wanting to make something, but falling out of DRS range is the Aston Martin. He has time though. He's in DRS range right now. Before the detection point. Keeping an eye on it. He's within 8/10. Now will he get DRS? He will on the main straight. Here, Mercedes knows what he needs to do. Heading into the final lap. Will Shadow try something? Or will he just accept defeat and take his P4? I don't know. Oh, we're not heading to the final lap. We're still at 21. Sorry, my fault, folks. My fault, folks. Lap 21 here of Spa. Shadow trying. He will get DRS though. Down this straight, trying to maintain and catch a slipstream as best as possible. But looks to be will not be able to make it and do with it. But looking down the grid grid very much spaced out here. But it has been one man and one man only. This man right here, Zizen, has dominated this race with a 15-second gap. Even though with that 3-second time penalty, it'll slot down to 12 seconds. Still double digits. Fully dominating and inserting himself up there to win the Belgian Grand Prix, hopefully here soon. As we'll follow along with him on his final lap as he gets about to start it into the chicane. Big lockup though, to cutting the chicane a little bit. Zizen will start the final lap, leading this race here in Spa. Stamps it with a 3-second time penalty. Lock up there though too, with the Red Bull driver. Stamps with another 3-second time penalty. Caution, sector 2. Stamso out of this race. Oh my goodness. As a Williams DP, I am not happy with how this race went. Oh my goodness. Wow. But hey, you know, sometimes you have one of those days, and that race is just not it today. But Zizen and Red Bull Davis very happy with how his drivers have been. Zizen going a little lackadaisy though too into this final lap. To an all-out dominance today in the rain. Switching over to dries. Staying out when everybody else pitted has paid off for him today. As the sun is shining down here in Belgium as he heads into the chicane of Sector 2 near the tail end of his lap here in Spa, flat out from here on out in Sector 3. Zizen, the Brazilian driver, the Tier 2 World Drivers Champion, and maybe hopefully a Tier 1 Drivers Champion, has proved himself multiple times in Tier 1, but proves himself here once again. Zizen will win the Belgian Grand Prix for Red Bull. And will it be a Red Bull 1-2? Most likely it will be. Scorenzi, Zizen's teammate, crosses the line as he exits the chicane, slots himself into P2. Mercedes makes it a Red Bull sweep podium. Shadow with a P4. Mark, the Tier 3 driver, making a statement into P5. Red Dog, rough race, but able to make a recovery. Slots himself into P7. B-Dot making it a P6. Franco, don't know what he's doing there. Slots himself and finishes P8. Thiago P9. Squirt P10. Enigma P12. Ted, the other Tier 3 driver, Reserve limps his way down to the end and finishes P13 just shy of the points. SJZ to bringing up the rear here to finishing off with a lockup into across the line. We'll finish off this race for us, but Ziesen dominated through and through this race. 15-second plus gap we saw from him, and we'll see the podium celebrations here. There he is, dancing, moving and grooving, the Brazilian that always he does, as he does, makes an opportunity and makes something happen. A Red Bull 1-2. Davis will be very happy about that. Morsaki to round off the podium. And so a Red Bull sweeping the competition here tonight in Spa. So, but the paddock yapping about. Though, too, very much getting people chattering now after that race. So, but I believe, too. But there's your race winner, fastest lap driver of the day, and most overtakes. Ziesen, Red Dog for fastest lap and overtakes. B-Dot, your driver of the day. But here's your finisher. Top three is Ziesen, Skrenzi, Morsaki, Bark round out the top five. Getting race director info, too, for our wonderful admin team who help us run this league very, very much, very, very well, and do a stellar job of that. We'll take a look at these pit stops and give you a look. The rest all wasn't able to get a look at that, but hopefully all of you enjoyed. We'll be off, I believe, this coming week. Yes, we will be forward to celebrate Easter. But next, we'll see you the week of April 6th as we go to Silverstone, but reverse. We'll be battling in Silverstone reverse track for all our tiers of that race. But I've been your host and commentator, Shiesty 420. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you. Check, check, 1, 2, hey, hey, hey. Yes, we'll see you later, but enjoy your Easter break, everybody, and we'll see you in Silverstone for the Reverse Grand Prix in 2 weeks. Have a wonderful night, everybody.